everybody, if you are in third hour, you have seen this slide. You can probably skip ahead until you see, let's see, oh, never mind, there we go, until you see this slide. But for my fourth hour people, stay here. We didn't get to this in class, but I just want to talk to you guys really quickly about patriots versus loyalists. And so during the Revolutionary War, people started to take sides. And the patriots, like I've mentioned before in class, sided with the United States. They were pro-separation from Britain. They definitely wanted to form their own country. Loyalists, on the other hand, wanted to remain loyal to Britain. They wanted the financial security of staying with one of the most powerful countries of the world at this time, and they didn't see benefits to starting their own country right now. But once the Revolutionary War starts, the patriots and loyalists really started to clash, and they fought many times. Eventually, these loyalists become very cruel and treated patriots just very terrible. And actually, a lot of patriots saw the loyalists treating patriots this way, and it really convinced some colonists to side with the patriots because they really didn't want to be a part of such a cruel group. So those two names are two that you're going to hear a lot, and it's important to know what each side stands for. Okay, so this is where everybody picks up. Now we're all on the same page. Okay, so in class, the last 2 days, we have been talking a lot about how the momentum shifted toward the United States. And we're going to continue talking about that and just really discuss more moments of just big turning points for the United States. And we're going to start with Nathanael Greene, and he is the commander of the Continental Army in the South. The Continental Army is the army for the United States at this time. We've talked about General Cornwallis several different times as well. He's our main general for Britain. And they are going to clash in the South. And so Greene uses his knowledge of geography to put Cornwallis at a disadvantage. And so he's going to use hilltops to his advantage. He's going to use terrain that is really difficult to get through to put Cornwallis behind. So geography and knowledge of the region is going to come in really handy here. Greene also comes up with a tactic that Cornwallis won't have seen before. And so what Greene does is he divides his army into two lines. He's going to have one line in front of the other. The first line is going to retreat back in the fighting to make it look as if the United States is retreating, to make it look as if the British won. So once the British thinks that they've won and they've kind of let off fighting, then that second line will come through and destroy the British. This was actually extremely successful. The British were completely surprised when this tactic was used at the Battle of Cowpens. So the United States, again, is successful thanks to Nathanael Greene's new tactic. Ultimately, this is going to this is going to lead us to the end of the war, and we're going to talk about kind of Britain's last chance and how that really doesn't work out for him. So back to Cornwallis, he again is looking for just a source of hope for the British, and so he decides he wants to take Virginia. Benedict Arnold, and I think you've probably heard his name before, is a former American general, but he is a famous traitor in our history who ends up taking the British soldiers, or he takes the British sides and ultimately leads the soldiers to take Richmond. The reason he turned traitor is because he didn't feel like his victories gained enough recognition, and he really wanted that sense of power, and ultimately he just wasn't getting that, and so he ditched America to go to the British, which is unfortunate in our history. The United States did try and find him to capture him and hang him for becoming a traitor, but actually he was never captured. So but anyways, Benedict Arnold was kind of, I don't want to say help for Britain, but that's what he was. He eventually captures Richmond, Virginia, and that's what inspires Cornwallis to go ahead and try to take the rest of Virginia. So what happens is, though, is Cornwallis, as he's trying to plan out taking Virginia, he orders attack on Charlottesville, and he actually causes the legislature from the colonies to flee. So there's a little bit of hope there for Britain. But American troops do fight back on the raiding British troops and are able to stall them. Cornwallis is then instructed to send troops to New York, but Cornwallis ignores this and sends them to Yorktown in Virginia, thinking that he can be resupplied from troops that are sitting at sea. But Washington actually knows or finds out that he's there, so Washington and French troops move in and surround him and his troops. They end up trapping him in Yorktown, and Cornwallis cannot get any sort of supplies, food, or anything because they're surrounded. The United States and French lay siege, and after months and months of being without supplies and food and anything that they need to survive, the British end up surrendering their weapons on October 19th, 1781. And then this leads us to the Treaty of Paris that officially ends the war and that officially declares the United States independent. So that's going to make us our own country, and that's the start of the United States as we know it. Once we become independent, we're going to kind of grapple with starting a new government, and that's going to be difficult. We're going to come up with several different ideas. We're going to find out that many of them are not going to work. And then eventually we're going to see some rebellions, and then eventually we will get to the government that we know and love today. So that's what's coming. What I would like you to do for your instructions for homework, you need to get out a piece of paper. You need to write down 5 things that you learned. You also need to write down the time and the place that you watched this video, and come ready and have it turned in tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow you need a piece of paper with 5 things you learned, the time and place that you watched it. Okay, have that ready tomorrow. I will see you all bright and early.